At the Texas Homeschool Coalition, we believe parents have a God-given right and a calling to raise their children as they see fit, including their education. That used to be a consensus position in our country. It is no longer. The National School Board Association wrote a letter to the Biden Department of Justice calling on them to investigate parents who are going to school board meetings and challenging curriculum, critical race theory, pornographic curriculum, and challenging school board members. Their allegation? These parents might be domestic terrorists. I kid you not. And in Texas, we see the same sort of thing happening. But before that, in Loudoun County, Virginia, where we see kind of ground zero in this issue, we see a dad who was actually arrested at one of these school board meetings. What came out later is that his daughter was actually sexually assaulted in a restroom by a boy wearing a skirt. And the school board said that did not happen. It now appears that the school was hiding that information. And he recently told Fox News that he believed that the federal government was weaponizing the Department of Justice to silence parents. In Texas, we see a similar thing happening in Carroll ISD out in Southlake, Texas, where last year there was a heated school board election between parent activists and who articulated that critical race theory was being taught in that school district, and what I would call educational establishment types, and I'm happy to say the parents won. There's another election coming up in that district in November, and again you have a parent activist running and a former school teacher who denies that critical race theory or anything like that is happening. Interesting, in that school district, a parent, her child brought home a book that she deemed inappropriate. She went to the district and made a complaint. The teacher actually berated the student and forbid her from taking things home and not talking to her parents unless it was pre-approved by the teacher. The school board, in a 3-2 vote, actually reprimanded that teacher. Notice that it was a 3-2 vote. That means there were 2 members of that school board that voted against that action. And in Dallas ISD, we see parents who are actually saying now that their students have been isolated and not taught. One parent said they actually put them in a box. They've not been taught anything for 2 weeks relative to this school board policy of masking. So that parent actually reached out to the governor for help. So what we see here is that the days when we all believed that parents should have input in the direction and the education of their children, those days are past. More and more we see an active opposition between educational establishment, public school lobbies, and we saw that even pronounced at the recent Texas Association of School Administrators and the Texas Association of School Boards conference, where there was a policy discussion about parents presenting these Public Information Act requests for information. You won't be surprised when I tell you that they didn't talk about how they could provide that information more quickly. In fact, it looked more like a policy discussion on how you could delay those things from happening. I hope you'll share this information with people. It's important that you get registered to vote and that you participate in these school board elections in the coming year. And frankly, it is critical. This is another reason, by the way, that we see more and more parents saying, you know what, I'm just going to teach my kids at home. Go to thsc.org for information on that. And thank you for helping us keep Texas families free.